Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Tyler Carlston here with the Mortgage Accelerated Podcast. And today we have Jason Cecco of Lending Heights Mortgage. How you doing, Jason?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, staying busy as ever. How's business?
Booming. It's going crazy out here in the little town of Pittsburgh.
That's awesome. Good to hear, man. So I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
Awesome. So, Jason, why don't you do a quick introduction if people don't know who you are?
Well, you kind of gave me a pretty good one. Name's Jason. I'm a mortgage broker out of Pittsburgh. I'm the president of Lending Heights. We're a small shop right outside the city of Pittsburgh, focused mostly on local brands, purchase business, and really just trying to make a name for ourselves. We're about 3 years old, and customer service is our number one thing, and that's what we focus on.
So, Jason, what really got the start of Lending Heights? Where did that name come from? What desired you to form your own brokerage?
Sure. That's funny where you got that, where the name came from. It's probably because it was the only one that wasn't picked. When I was out there trying to make the name, I was just digging up some old files. We have notebooks upon notebooks of, okay, let's try these words together. Let's try these words together. And it kind of just stuck. So our office is based out of Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania. So that's kind of where it came from a little bit. Lending Heights, Natrona Heights, kind of where the whole amalgamation of everything came together. But motivation was service. I got licensed in 2011 as a loan officer. So I'm like a complete post-Dodd-Frank Act loan officer. I don't know what yield spread is. I don't know what any of those other types of pays and things were back in the day. So coming out of it, I worked for a bunch of retail shops and left the industry for about a year and said, I want to get back into it. And why go back and work for the man when I can do my own thing? I was about circa 2014. And the rest is history. We kind of opened up shop, me and a partner, sitting on milk crates on the floor trying to originate loans. And now, we have 3 years later, and we're just still looking to boom, double by next year.
That's awesome, man. That kind of growth it doesn't happen overnight. Obviously, it's been a couple of years, but still, that's really impressive. I mean, so what really desired you to go into the broker channel? So I know you'd said you want to work for yourself, but was there any other reason besides that?
No, to be honest with you, I didn't know much about being a broker. Starting in the industry, like I said, I worked for a retail lender, and I was jaded. I only knew one side of the whole business. So I always thought mortgage brokers, they're never coming back. They're the worst place. They charge high fees, this, that, and the other thing. I really, really drank that Kool-Aid and was really into it. When it was time for me to open my own shop, that was the only option we had. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to become a lender. I looked at, not knowing much about it at all. I looked, let me get a warehouse line. Let me do this. And really quick, it was like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. I was like, whoa, this is way too much. This isn't going to happen. So let's start as a small broker, and then we'll become a lender at some point. So that's what it was. I just said, all right, it's the easiest way for me to do this is myself. Let me open up. And it was the best thing I ever did. I don't think, now we have the ability to open warehouse lines and do all this stuff. And I steer away from it as far as possible. So just, the fact that it's just so attractive where I'm so independent from the banks, it really is just the best place for anybody to get a loan. And now I'm bought into this side and I experience this side, and it really, honestly, truly believe it's the best place.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm really strong on the broker side too. I mean, why stick with one loan option when you can have somebody shop around 100 for you? It makes complete sense. So why don't we dive into your pre-loan officer life, Jason, a little bit? So you said you got started in the industry about 2011. What really led up to that? What made you get into the industry?
It's actually kind of a funny story. So I'm a Penn State grad. I went to school for engineering at Penn State. Probably it was my junior year of school. And I was like, you know what, man, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. So at that point, I was like, crap, what am I going to do? I finished school. At that point, I was like, I paid for all this. I needed to just get that piece of paper. So I did. I mean, I learned a lot. I'm not trying to discount education in any way, shape, or form. It's definitely an awesome experience and everything. But my college roommate, his father actually was a very high up CEO. He was the CEO of a large mortgage company. And as I was graduating, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I graduated December 2011. December 2010. And by January 2011, he offered me a job as trying mortgage sales at his dad's mortgage company. I jumped into it and never went back. I loved it. First day, it was like a call center environment. Sat down, they just pick up this phone and start making these phone calls, started doing it. Dialing for dollars is what it was at that time. And man, coming fresh out of college with all the college debt and whatnot, it was an easy way to make a lot of money, and I jumped right into it. But during all that, I learned, it's actually helping people too. I really enjoyed being able to the math, the numbers part of it being like, it was a refinance boom down that time. So it was like, okay, your payment's this. Let's see. I'm working on numbers of all these crazy Excel spreadsheets. I really got into it just to be able to get the numbers and calculate and win and beat the next guy by being smarter than the next guy. And that was a real big passion of mine at that point. And then you find people, we got into purchases. And I remember back in the day, it was really funny. We would be always doing refinances. And then we got a purchase. We're like, oh man, what do we do with this? Like, there's two sides of this thing, It's like, this takes so long. You have to do what? You have to do who? Like, it's so confusing. You don't have to do this. So like, we used to pass them off. Like, who wants a purchase? Pass them off, take them, and keep doing the refinances. But that's it's kind of story how I got into it, and I fell in love with it. I really did. It's I make this joke. I think anybody you ask about in the mortgage industry never said, I want to get into the mortgage industry. They just kind of fall into place somehow. I've never met a person that was like, I graduated college and wanted to be a loan officer.
Yeah, I think you're right. Of all the people I've talked to, I don't think one has said, yeah, I grew up and told my fifth grade teacher I wanted to do loans.
Yeah, exactly. No first graders drawing his picture. What do you want to be when you grow up? Superman, a dentist, a mortgage loan originator, yeah, it doesn't happen, but it's an awesome industry. It really is. I love it. It's like just such a close knit and such a dynamic industry. I don't think there's much out there like mortgages that changes so much. There's new something every day. There's people competing like crazy just to earn other people's business, coming out with new crazy products, coming out with new crazy processes. It's just an awesome quick pace. You can see I have a lot of energy, and I just enjoy it. I just love going back and forth and playing the home mortgage game. It's like the joke we have in the office. It's the game of homes.
Yep, I agree. So let's touch on that a little bit. You said you mentioned a tight-knit community, and obviously, in my opinion, I don't believe there's much more of a tight-knit community in the mortgage industry than the broker channel. Obviously, with you being a broker, what do you think the momentum of the whole broker movement is going to be like 6 months from now?
Double, hopefully triple than what it is now. We have these awesome associations. Anthony Costa out there with AIM, and what all these guys are doing, these large banks, UWM, and all these other lenders out there, they got our backs. It's so, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just crazy how much they have our backs. And the momentum is just going to keep going and going. It's just going to keep snowballing. And the reason is because it's the honest truth is the best place for our clients to get a loan. It's not like we're trying to sell snake oil or we're just trying to compete like, oh, we're doing the same exact things these guys are, but let's try to convince you it's better. No, the truth is in the pudding. What we offer is better. We're smaller, we're leaner, we're cheaper, we're faster. And that's the truth of it. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to keep growing and keep snowballing, getting bigger and bigger because of it. It's just one of those things where it's just a matter of time at this point because, the right thing always prevails at the end. And it is the right thing for a client to get a loan is through, these channels. Yeah.
And obviously I do think that the broker channel is probably going to hit 50%. I put my prediction out there in March of 2020. I think it's going to hit that. And I think a really big player in that is Nexa Mortgage, obviously, is growing like crazy. What's your take on them?
Inspirational, man. They're great. I follow those guys all the time. And when you see hired another 3 loan officers today, it takes me like 3 months to hire 1 loan officer. And they're out there just up. We got 5 more. We doubled in the past 6 months. I love seeing that stuff. I really do. Their business model is an awesome business model. And anytime I see a broker grow, I get really excited. And anytime I see a monstrosity lender get taken down a peg, I get excited too. It's kind of a little bit on both. It's we're all so competitive. At the end of the day, we're all really just doing the same thing. We're just doing it more efficiently. That's all it comes down to. An FHA loan's an FHA loan, a conventional loan's a conventional loan. It's not like they have anything super special out there. And when, like I said, my background's engineering, so when I see efficiencies, I get excited. And mortgage brokers are just efficient. This is all it comes down to. Our overhead's small, and the fact that we're pretty much capped when it comes to compensation, it's great because we can work backwards from there. We don't have to work the other way. Like, okay, we have all these expenses, so how much do we have to charge? No, it's just how much can we make, so how low can we make our expenses? It's kind of a work backwards model, which honestly is why we're so transparent and cheap for clients. Simple as that, because we have to work backwards.
Yeah, exactly. There are some even small, really small, like 1 or 2 person brokerages out there. I remember I was speaking with somebody probably a month and a half ago. I was like, so what's your comp like? He was like, well, it's just me and my wife helps out with the processing, and we only charge our clients 100 basis points. I'm like, wow. They work from home, obviously. They don't have any overhead, but I'm like, that's why brokers are awesome, because they can cut down pretty much to make it the most affordable option out there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So like I get people ask me all the time to like, hey, why don't you become correspondent, do this? I don't need to make more money at this point. We're not even maxing out our compensation with lenders, and we're doing fine. And that's our model. I like to keep it lean. So at what point, why should I be trying to charge 400 basis points in the back end? It just doesn't make sense. And I like I said before, it keeps you honest. When there's a cap there, you don't ever be up against the wall. So you always keep a little below and run lean. And the benefits is the clients on top of that. And as more mortgage brokers come to light, all that's going to get better is our efficiencies. Because hey, Tyler's got his mortgage company right next door to mine, and yeah, we both know we're using the same lenders and the same comps. So who can do it better? Who can do it faster? Who can do it smoother? It's just like this whole chemistry set of efficiencies that's evolving out of this whole mortgage broker movement, and I love it. I just watch it and I get excited every morning. I wake up and I'm just so pumped to see it happen, to see what new things are coming out. All the time I see new brokers show up in my market. First thing I do is call them. Hey man, congratulations! I am so excited you're in this. And I really tell them, hey, if you need anything, I'm here. You have a competition, but at the same time, we got to stick together. If anything I can help you with, I've been doing this for a while. We got a pretty successful shop. Be happy to help you answer any questions, as long as there's nothing to do with steal my loans. But it's an honest thing I do. I will reach out to all the local brokers and say hi and extend I'll branch it if they just got up and running. Try to be a resource for them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense. I mean, really, as brokers, there really should be no fighting between everybody, because I mean, there's still right now, I mean, there's still 70% of the market out there still going to retail that you could be going after.
Exactly.
So there's plenty of business to go around for everybody. So I mean, that's really just why I love the whole broker community, because like I've said before, it's so tight knit. Everybody has everybody's backs. It's just a really good family environment.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like I said, I get excited when I see small guys pop up. I'll be the first to reach out. And it's funny the reactions you get. They're like, "Who are you? And you're another broker in the area? Like, why are you calling me?" Like, no, I'm honest here. I'm just trying to tell you. Let me know if I can help you. I've been in your position. Like I know how it is, and I'm excited for you to grow. I make the joke too. In our market, 5,000 homes probably closed last month. You know what I mean? If I'm doing 50% of that, there's still way more business to go around for everybody.
100% true. So Jason, why don't we touch down to a little bit of the struggles that you had? So when you first started Lending Heights, what was really your biggest obstacle that you faced that you were like, man, that took so long to figure out? What do you think that was?
As far as figuring out, I mean, I have the mindset where you just be the hardest worker in the room. As long as you're putting the work in, it's going to get done. I had a pretty good understanding of, how everything worked, how to set up a loan, all that stuff. It was more the back end stuff where I didn't understand. When it was just me originating, I'd never processed a loan. I came from like a call center environment. So they used to pay us on approvals at one point. You know what I mean? So it'd be like, or submissions, and you just submit it, and when the loan got approved, we got paid. I didn't know the back end. So the back end was the stuff that I wouldn't say was the hardest, was just the biggest learning curve. Tolerance cures, that was one. There's a couple of deals. Not too many people are familiar with the Pittsburgh area, but we have transfer taxes all over the place. One town can be different than the next town, can be different than the next town. It's not a consistent thing. Buyers, sellers, are they splitting it? Are they not splitting it? Is it 4%? Is it 2%? That was the time I ate a lot of my commission checks by doing wrong disclosures that way. So that was definitely a pain point, a huge one. Because those are big cuts into your comp. And then just training everybody else up to the standard that I wanted. It was really my biggest hurdle. We are very loan officer oriented here. So the processors that we have, kind of had to, bleach them of everything that they knew and train them in our way. And that's one of the biggest struggles that I run into now. It's just like, no, that's how you probably did it your last place. It's not how we do it here. So, how can we, make that a faster and more streamlined process? That seems to be the biggest hurdles. But starting off was when I first opened up shop in Pittsburgh, I actually lived in the Philadelphia area. So I only was living out here for like 6 months. And then I started my own new broker shop and everything like that. So I didn't even have connections. So it really was just pounding the pavement and getting out there was my biggest hurdle, get my name out there. And this market is pretty saturated with some old players, people that have their name. They do a good job. That's the thing. Like all the people in this market, they're not like, they can't talk bad on them. They're good. The small correspondents, they know what they're doing. They're competitive. It's not like I'm going against some chumps. They're good mortgage guys. So that was one of the biggest things, is breaking in and trying to shake up the tree a little bit was one of my biggest things coming in. I would say it was my biggest struggle. But other than that, it's just the same thing,
Yeah. So how did you overcome that? I mean, coming to a new city, you said pounding the pavement, but could you dive a little bit more into that? I mean, anybody listening might be going through that same struggle. What really did you do that got you over that hump?
I try to do unique stuff. That's the biggest thing. I would hold events all the time. I make the joke, if you pour it, they will come. So like real estate agents, I'd have events where, a lot of alcohol, a lot of food, and things like that sort. And just try to marketing. Marketing really is key. If you get out there and just spark someone's interest a little differently. So what I would do is one, recon. Honestly, I would look at all my competition area, see what they're doing, how they're doing it, find one little hole to poke, and then exploit that. And I would do that by just, whatever, this company does this. Oh, well, we do it like this. Why don't you come learn how this is done? And I would do it by showing differences. It was my biggest way. Anyone could walk into a shop. Here's the donuts. Here's the rate sheet. You're good. One shop I walked into one day, I was really trying hard. Like, they were really nice, but they're kind of like, no, we don't want you in here, blah, blah, blah. I showed up with a gallon of ice cream and a blender and said, we're making milkshakes, and here's a rate sheet. And I did. I got a couple milkshakes out before they kicked me out. But that's honestly one thing I did. Walked in and started making milkshakes for people, putting coffee in there, doing like frappuccinos and things like that. And that really got my name out there. Everyone in there just started talking and kind of started spreading. Like, oh, you know that guy? Yeah, that guy came in and made a mess with milkshakes in our office. Little things like that. One time I walked into an office, honestly, a dozen pizzas, just because of the wow factor. There's probably only maybe 15 people in the office. But watching the dozen pizzas, it's like, boom, everyone take a pizza home to your family tonight. Like, it's on Lending Heights. If you have any mortgage, any needs, let me know. By the way, this is what we do differently. Little wow factors like that is really what makes a difference. So anyone can walk in, like I said, with cookies or a rate sheet, but if you can really just give them something to remember, that's how I grew my business.
That's awesome. So you really focus more on the branding and imaging side as
just being the local hero, if you will, is someone that they can relate to. Not the I always make this joke, not the crusty old banker, but like the young, rejuvenated mortgage broker who's really just trying to make a name for themselves and do anything possible to do it. And you show that by doing those quirky little things. Milkshake Mondays, or bringing in a dozen pizzas for 5 people. Just kind of just being out of control a little bit, and a little bit crazy. You have to be a little bit crazy in this industry to get through.
Yeah, I love it, man. So why don't you tell us what's in store for Lending Heights in the next 12 months? What's on your to-do list, and what should we watch out for?
Sure. Growth. We're going to be huge. Our goal right now is to be the #1 originator in all of Pittsburgh. That's step 1. Step 2, we're coming for the state of Pennsylvania. So we're right now, again, being with an engineering background, my focus is a lot on process. Like, we're way overstaffed. Right now we have 7 originators and 4 processors. We just keep it with that ratio real heavy because we want to make sure that it gets done fast, it gets done well. So right now I'm staffing up on operations like crazy, and then I'm just going to start flooding the gates with loan originators. So we're trying to double our size in the next year as far as originators go. A little more than that, actually. By the end of this year, I'm looking to have 12 loan officers, and then in 12 months from there, have another 12 on top of it. So we're just looking to go crazy that way. I don't really like the mentality, because I've been a loan originator, and I can't stand it when, processing is bogged down, or we're understaffed on underwriting. Like, that excuse is I can't stand. I'd rather spend the money, have one extra processor, not doing anything or doing other side work, and then when we need to, they can pick up the slack. And that's kind of our business model, because we're a small local company right now. Like I said, we're just focused just on Pittsburgh, and we get probably 99% of our business from like 50 miles around Pittsburgh. And that's really what we're focusing on. So we're just trying to become a small local powerhouse. It's really what it is. So expansion is our next thing.
Awesome, man. So if anybody's watching this who's wanting to get into the industry or is brand new to the industry and is struggling, what would be the biggest thing of advice that you could offer them?
Work for a mortgage broker. No, but out of all seriousness, find the place you fit most with. There are so many different companies out there, and we all do it a little differently. And that's a benefit. If you are a leads person or you want to just pound phones, go to a company that does that. If you are, whatever you are, just find the good fit and find the culture. When we hire people, our biggest thing is a culture fit. I probably could have 25 loan officers at this point, but I select them because they have to be a really good culture fit so that I can really get our base going and then expand that, because it's kind of like, it's contagious. If you have one person that's really negative in your company, terrible. But if you have 20 people that are super positive in your company, then when you hire the next 20 people, it's just contagious and it keeps spreading. So culture fit. Find a place that if you want to get in this industry, find someone you look up to. Everyone needs to have a hero. Everyone needs to have a coach. Go around, talk to a bunch of different companies, and whoever you feel most comfortable with, go. Because like I said earlier, we're all kind of doing the same thing. FHA is FHA, conventional is conventional. Find the place where you're going to be the most comfortable, because when it comes down to it, confidence is key.
Love it, man. So looks like that is all the time we have here, Jason. I do appreciate you coming on and spreading all your knowledge, sharing your story of your company. And if anybody's wanting to get pre-approved in the Pittsburgh area, I'm sure Jason will be able to help you out.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Not a problem. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back next Friday with a new guest on the Mortgage